Today we're going to make homemade tomato soup. It's really delicious, really creamy, and really good for you. So, the ingredients that you're going to need are about, well, generally the recipe calls for 8 big tomatoes like this. But we're getting tomatoes from our garden, so we have all sorts of different sizes in here. So we have what looks about 8. You need to use 8 cups of tomato juice, which is probably this whole container. 2 cups of heavy cream. What we're going to do this time is we're going to use milk to cut down the fat content. So you're going to need 2 sticks of butter, or a full cup of butter, and then about 18 leaves of fresh basil. So like this. And then for the spices, all you really need are salt and pepper. So, okay, here we go. Alright, so here we have our diced tomatoes. If you want to, you can cut off the skins as well. Since the tomatoes are from our own garden, we're just going to keep them on and have the extra goodness in our soup. And later on also we're going to puree the soup in a blender, so I figure all the tomato leaves will be broken down nicely then. But you take your tomato chunks, put them in a nice big pot. You pour in your 8 cups of tomato juice. And then you just simmer it on the stove for 30 minutes. Now we're going to simmer the tomato mixture on the stove. The way that I like to do it is I usually start it on high, let it get to a boil, and then turn it down to low. And you want to let it simmer for 30 minutes. And stir in between so nothing burns. For the next step, we're going to take this heated up blended tomato juice and tomatoes. Let's show you what it looks like. Again, I left the seeds and the skin on, but if you don't want to, you can take it off before you cook it. And we're going to put this into this food processor with basil and chop it up till everything's blended really nicely together, or chopped up really nicely. Okay. So we had to pulse and shred this thing up in steps because the pot was so much larger than our food processor, but don't forget to do the basil. So here's our basil. We're going to throw it in the last round of pulsing. So I'm just going to pour the last of it. This one has all the basil in it. Into the pot. This is messy. So here's what it'll look like. So the skin really didn't deter at all, it just made it a little bit thicker and potentially more delicious. We'll see. Put the soup on the stove. You put it on medium heat right here, and you're going to add the milk. So you want to add 2 cups. Now the first one I actually use cream because I'm going to make it a little thicker than I intended. The second one I'm just going to use milk. The milk, and you want 1 cup of butter, so 2 sticks. Now, you basically just want to heat it up until everything melts, until all the butter's melted in, and then you season with salt and pepper. Now, all the butter's melted, so if you can see, all we have left are coming through are some of the tomato skins and basil. It's smelling pretty good. The only thing I have left to do is to add the salt and pepper to taste. So first I have to taste it. I think I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. I like garlic in almost everything. Maybe a little more black pepper. And I actually think I'm going to hold off on the salt because it doesn't need it. And people that like salt in their soup generally add it anyways, so maybe I'll just hold off on that. Let me try. This is the most fun part of cooking.